Chapter 2. Getting acquainted with the vehicle you will drive. As before, we have knowledge objectives and attitude objectives. For the knowledge objectives, students will be able to perform pre-driving checks and sequence, safely enter a vehicle when parked, describe the functions of various information devices, identify and describe communication, visibility, and convenience devices, identify and describe passenger protection systems, operate vehicle control devices, and adjust the vehicle to the driver. For the attitude objectives, students will accept that it is necessary to perform pre-driving checks outside, under the hood, and inside the vehicle, and adjust seat, mirrors, safety devices, and other equipment as appropriate before moving a motor vehicle. Pre-driving checks. Forming good habits. Certain checks and procedures must become habits if a driver is to safely and efficiently operate a motor vehicle. The first habits you need to develop are preparing yourself, preparing your vehicle, and preparing your passengers for travel. Some questions. What should drivers check each time they approach the vehicle? Why is this important? Approaching the vehicle. Every time you drive, certain checks should be performed before entering the vehicle. Have your keys in hand before approaching your car or entering the parking area. If you have a keyless entry remote with a panic alarm button, keep it in your hand, with your finger poised above the activation button. Be alert to other pedestrians and drivers. Search for signs of movement between, beneath, and around objects to both sides of your vehicle. Make sure other drivers see you. Walk well away from the parked vehicles. And, if parked at the curb, face traffic as you approach the driver's door. Outside the vehicle. There are several precautions the driver should take when approaching the vehicle. Before entering, check around the vehicle for obstacles that might interfere with safe movement of the vehicle. Check the driveway, parking area, or street for children or other pedestrians. Several hundred children are killed annually by backing vehicles. Inspect the headlights, brake lights, turn signals and taillights, windshield, and side and rear windows. Clean if necessary and replace any bulbs or lenses that are not working or are broken. Visually inspect your tires for obvious signs of a problem and notice which way the front wheels are pointed. Be sure to check your tire pressures at least once each month, as visual inspection alone may not reveal an improperly inflated tire. Check under the vehicle for fluid leaks. Look inside the vehicle before entering, especially the back seat, to enhance your safety and protect yourself against carjacking and other dangers. Checks under the hood. The following checks should be made at least once a month. 1. Engine coolant reservoir, radiator fluid. 2. Windshield washer fluid reservoir. 3. Power steering fluid reservoir. 4. Drive belts for tension and wear. 5. Engine oil filler cap. 6. Engine oil dipstick. 7. Transmission fluid dipstick for automatic transmission only. 8. Brake fluid reservoir. 9. Battery for a clean and level charge. And number 10. Air filter assembly. A quick note. Refer to the vehicle owner's manual for more detailed information on these checks. Pre-driving sequence. Questions. What is the sequence drivers should take before driving the vehicle? Why are these important? How can these become habits? It is important to develop a routine for preparing to drive. Key steps include 1. Place your key in the ignition. 2. Make sure all doors are closed tightly and locked. In addition to preventing unwanted persons from entering your vehicle, locked doors can help reduce the chance of occupants being ejected from the vehicle in the event of a crash. 3. Check windows and then clean and/or defrost as needed. 4. Check for packages or other objects that could block your view or strike an occupant in the event of a quick stop or crash. Secure loose objects in the trunk or use a cargo net, commonly found in SUVs. 5. Adjust the seat, steering wheel/column, accelerator/brake pedals, if applicable, and head restraints. 6. Adjust the inside and outside mirrors. 7. Fasten and adjust safety belts and make sure all passengers fasten theirs. 8. Adjust air vents, windows, and/or temperature control. And 9. New drivers should avoid the distractions of the radio or auxiliary music system. Leave it off for now. Adjusting the vehicle to your preferences. Questions. What adjustments can be made to better match the fit between you and your vehicle? Why is it important to have the seat adjusted properly? How can this be accomplished? Seat adjustment controls. If manually controlled, the adjustment lever that allows the driver to move the seat forward or back is typically at the lower front side of the driver's seat. A second lever or knob, which adjusts the seat back angle, is generally at the left rear side of the driver's seat. In vehicles with electric power seats, the controls are usually on the lower left side of the driver's seat or in a control cluster on the driver's armrest or door panel. Question. How should the driver's body be positioned relative to the vehicle controls? Body position. The position of the driver's body relative to vehicle controls is critical. You should be seated in a comfortable, upright position, squarely behind the steering wheel. The seat should be positioned forward or back, up or down, so that you can easily operate the accelerator, brake, and clutch pedals without having to lift your heel from the floor. And drivers should not sit closer than 10 inches from the steering wheel in vehicles equipped with a driver's side airbag. Question. Describe the space a driver can immediately see around their vehicle when properly seated. The area around your car. This space consists of the area between the vehicle and the nearest point where you can see the ground when seated behind the steering wheel. When properly seated, you should be able to see the ground within 12 to 15 feet to the front, 1.5 to 2 car widths to the right side, and 1/2 to 1 car width to the left side. Steering wheel and column adjustment. An adjustment lever on the underside of the steering column permits the driver to raise or lower the steering column for better steering, wheel angle, and height. In a number of newer model vehicles, the steering column is also telescopic, allowing the driver to adjust the distance between the steering wheel and the driver's chest. Questions. How should the driver's hands be positioned on the steering wheel? Why is this important? Hand position. The position of your hands on the steering wheel will vary depending on the design of the steering wheel, the seat height, and the length of your arms and legs. However, you should be able to adjust the seat so your left hand rests around 9 o'clock and your right hand rests at about 3 o'clock, as on the face of a clock. This positioning allows for optimum control when turning the steering wheel. Some drivers may prefer a slightly lower hand position, closer to 8 and 4 o'clock, depending on the position of the steering wheel spokes and personal preference. This mid to low hand position will help drivers maintain symmetrical leverage on the steering wheel while minimizing the chance of injury in the event the airbag deploys. Drivers should strive to maintain both hands on the steering wheel at all times. Questions. How should the driver grip the steering wheel? Why is this important? Grip. You should grip the steering wheel with your arms bent at the elbows. Your grip should be gentle but firm. Grip the steering wheel by the outside of the rim, using both hands. For better control and road feel, use your fingers instead of the palms of your hands and keep your thumbs up along the face of the steering wheel. Mirror settings and use. Adjusting the mirrors. Developing proper visual search habits requires proper positioning and use of mirrors both inside and outside the vehicle. Keep in mind that mirrors are intended for detection and not for gathering detailed information. Question: how should the interior or rear view mirror be positioned? The inside mirror. Adjust the inside mirror so that it covers the entire rear window. To use the inside rear view mirror, you should have to move only your eyes, not turn your head. Question: how should the side view mirrors be positioned? Side view mirrors. Adjusting the driver's side mirror. Place your head against the left side window. Set the mirror so that you can just barely see the side of the car in the right side of the mirror. Adjusting the passenger side mirror. Position your head so that it's centered under the inside rear view mirror or just above the center console. Adjusting the passenger side mirror. Position your head so that it is centered under the inside rear view mirror or just above the center console. Set the mirror so you can just barely see the side of the car in the left side of the mirror. Question: how can this positioning help the driver maximize visibility around the vehicle? Using the mirrors. With these mirror settings, you will have almost seamless visual contact around your vehicle. For example, when being passed by a vehicle in the next lane to your left, you will see it progress A, from the rear view mirror, B, to the left side mirror, and C, to your side vision. Remember, even properly adjusted mirrors will not eliminate all blind spots. You must make a final check to the sides before you make any lateral move. Occupant protection. Questions: what are some safety restraints that are common in modern vehicles? How do safety belts protect occupants? How should safety belts be positioned? Safety restraints. Lap and shoulder belts, when properly adjusted, are among the most important safety features in a motor vehicle. Safety belts are designed to help slow occupants' rate of deceleration in a frontal collision. When worn properly, safety belts also provide added comfort, reduce fatigue, and help keep the driver more alert. The safety belt provides maximum protection and comfort when you're sitting up straight with your back firmly against the back of the seat. The lap belt should fit snugly across your hips and not be allowed to ride up on your abdomen. Do not place the shoulder belt behind your back or under your arm. Do not ride in the front seat with the back of the seat in a reclining position. Questions: what is a head restraint? How does this help protect the driver? How should the head restraint be positioned? What can occur if it is positioned incorrectly? Head restraints. Head restraints reduce the risk of neck injury due to whiplash from the impact of a rear end or frontal collision. The top of the head restraint should be adjusted to a point slightly above your ears and, if possible, within 3 inches of the back of your head when you are seated in a normal upright position. Questions: what are airbags? How do they work? Where can they be mounted? Why must they be used in conjunction with safety belts? Airbags. Airbags are designed to work in conjunction with safety belts and help absorb crash forces to minimize impacts to the body. Airbags are located in the steering wheel and the dashboard on the passenger side. Airbags also may be located over the side doors, under the dashboard in the sides of the seat, in the door panels. Airbags also may be located over the side doors, under the dashboard in the sides of the seat, or in the door panels. Drivers should be positioned 10 to 12 inches from the steering wheel, and passengers should be positioned 15 to 18 inches from the front passenger side airbag. Speed and directional inputs. Questions: what is the gear selector lever? What does it control? Where can it be located? Gear selector lever. In a vehicle with an automatic transmission, The gear selector lever is located either on the right side of the steering column or on a console between the front seats. In a vehicle with manual transmission, the gearshift lever is generally on the center console or on the floor to the right of the driver. Using overdrive gear. The highest gear on most transmissions is an overdrive gear designed to maximize fuel economy. The transmission will automatically downshift as needed to maintain power as demanded by the driver. Questions. Which pedal is the accelerator pedal? What does it control? Which foot operates it? Accelerator pedal. This foot-operated pedal is mounted in the front right corner of the driver's footwell. Speed is controlled by the amount of pressure applied by the right foot. Questions. Which pedal is the brake pedal? What does it control? Which foot operates it? Brake pedal. Located to the left of the accelerator pedal. The foot-operated brake pedal slows the vehicle when the driver applies pressure. How much and how rapidly the vehicle slows is determined by how much pressure the driver applies and the amount of friction between the tires and the road surface. Questions. What is the clutch pedal? What function does it perform? Which foot operates it? Clutch pedal. With manual transmissions, the foot-operated clutch pedal is located to the left of the brake pedal. When depressed, the clutch pedal disengages the transmission's drive gears so the driver can shift gears manually. Questions. What does the parking brake do? Where can it be located? How can it be used? Why should it be used? When should it be used? Parking brake. The purpose of the parking brake is to hold a parked vehicle in place. Depending on the vehicle, one of two methods is used to release the parking brake pedal. Some vehicles, you push down on the pedal until a click is heard, at which time the pedal automatically returns to its uppermost or released position. The hand-actuated brake release lever may be above the foot pedal on the underside of the dashboard. To set a hand-operated floor or console-mounted parking brake, simply pull up or back firmly on the lever. To release the brake, grasp the lever firmly with your fingers and depress the button on the top of the lever with your thumb, then lower the lever. To release the brake, grasp the lever firmly with your fingers and depress the button on the top of the lever with your thumb, then lower the lever. Questions. What is cruise/speed control? How does it work? How can drivers benefit from this feature? When is it appropriate to use? When is it not appropriate to use? Cruise/speed control. This device allows drivers to select and maintain a constant speed without having to keep their foot on the accelerator. The controls are either on the steering wheel or on a lever on the side of the steering column. Cruise control should not be used in heavy traffic or in rain, snow, icy, or other slick surface or reduced traction conditions. Communication and visibility features. Questions. What are some ways drivers can communicate with other road users? When should the horn be used? The horn. Pressing on the steering wheel in the middle or in the areas to the side of the airbag usually operates the horn. A couple of short bursts is more polite than one long burst. This should always be used to warn people, not to express anger. Question. Why should a driver use turn signals? Turn signal lever. The turn signal lever is moved up to signal a movement to the right. It is moved down to indicate a movement to the left. Drivers can use their fingertips to operate the turn signal indicator lever. Questions. What are hazard flashers? When is it appropriate to use them? Hazard flashers. The purpose of hazard flashers is to warn other drivers of a problem or to increase awareness of the presence of a vehicle. The switch for the hazard lights is usually on top or right side of the steering column or on the dash near the center. When operated, both front and rear turn signal lights flash. Windshield wipers and washers. The control switch for the windshield wipers and washers may be on the dashboard, on the turn signal lever, or on a separate lever arm on the right side of the steering column. Two switches are involved. One controls wiper blade speed, and the other controls the washer fluid. Question: what are some guidelines to using headlights to maximize visibility and safety? Headlights. The headlight switch also controls power to the parking lights, tail lights, side marker lights, and the license plate lights. The switch may be on the left side of the instrument panel, on the same lever as the turn indicator, or on a separate lever. In many vehicles, a separate switch controls the dome light and dashboard light intensity. High and low headlight switch. This switch is typically mounted on the left side of the steering column and often the same as the turn signal lever. It is operated by moving a lever forward or backward to switch from high to low beam headlights. On some pickup trucks and older cars, the switch is mounted on the floor beneath the parking brake and is operated by pressing on the switch with the left foot. High and low headlight switch. This switch is typically mounted on the left side of the steering column and often the same as the turn signal lever. It is operated by moving a lever forward or backward to switch from high to low beam headlights. On some pickup trucks and older cars, the switch is mounted on the floor beneath the parking brake and is operated by pressing on the switch with the left foot. Heater, defroster, and air conditioner. The controls for these devices are in a cluster on the instrument panel. Some vehicles have separate controls on the instrument panel that operate these features in the rear of the vehicle. Hood release. The lever to release the hood is usually on the left side of the driver's compartment under the instrument panel. In some vehicles, it is under or just to the right of the steering column. A second latch, located in the grille or under the front edge of the hood, is designed to prevent the hood from opening when the vehicle is in motion and must also be operated to open the hood. Trunk or hatch release. On many vehicles, the release may be a lever on the floor just to the left or right side of the driver's seat. It could also be located on the driver's door panel or in the center console. In other vehicles, the release mechanism is a button in the glove box. Fuel door release. To prevent theft of fuel and protect against anyone putting damaging substances into the fuel tank, many vehicles are equipped with a fuel door security system. The release button, or lever, may be on the floor to the left of the driver's seat, in the center console, or in the glove box. It could also be located on the driver's door panel. The instrument panel. Gauges and lights. Questions. What is the purpose of a vehicle's gauges? How should drivers use them? The gauges and lights on your vehicle's instrument panel provide important information about the vehicle's safety and operational condition. Become familiar with your vehicle's instrument panel before you drive your vehicle. Read your owner's manual if you are unsure of the location or proper use of any of your vehicle's controls or instrumentation. Make it a habit to glance at the dashboard occasionally as you drive to ensure all systems are functioning properly. Other devices. Become familiar with the location and operation of devices such as the radio, window controls, air conditioner, headlight dimmer switch, and turn indicator switch.
Now you're ready to start up and go, right? Well, not quite. Adjusting the seat and the steering wheel are important steps that shouldn't be overlooked. To maintain control of your vehicle, you need to sit in a comfortable, erect position, squarely behind the steering wheel. The seat should be the proper distance from the wheel. You can achieve the proper distance from the wheel by extending your arm and adjusting the seat forward or back until the top of the steering wheel is in line with the palm of your hand. The goal should be to have a nice bend in your elbows when gripping the steering wheel. If the car has an airbag, your chest should be at least 10 to 12 inches from the center of the steering wheel. Your legs shouldn't be cramped or fully extended. You should be able to comfortably reach the accelerator and brake pedals without lifting your heel from the floor. Your right foot should be able to reach the floor behind the brake pedal. If the seat is too far back, you might not be able to steer or brake properly or operate other controls. With the seat too far forward, your arms are cramped and you can't turn the wheel as easily or quickly, or get to the brake in a hurry. Next, we need to adjust the steering wheel, which lets you go where you want to go. To adjust the steering wheel, tilt it up or down until the top of the wheel is about even with your shoulders. Some steering wheels can even telescope in and out to further refine the adjustment. You should grip the wheel with both hands positioned directly on either side of the wheel. Basically, your hands are placed at the 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock positions on a clock. In this position, you'll have the best leverage and control when turning the wheel. There is an alternative position. Some drivers prefer a slightly lower grip at the 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock positions. For some drivers, this is more comfortable. It reduces fatigue and gives them more control over steering. If your hands were higher, say at 10 and 2, you'd risk a greater chance of injury to your arms if the steering wheel airbag deployed. Maintaining control of your vehicle is critical when performing any driving maneuver. That's why you should always keep two hands on the steering wheel. Another adjustment that you need to make before starting to drive is the mirrors, which help you to know what's around your vehicle at all times. Properly adjusted, the inside or rear view mirror should be aimed at the middle of the back window, and you should be able to just see the bottom of the window. Now to the outside mirrors. Their purpose is to let you see the area outside of what you can see using the rear view mirror and your side vision. They show you what is off the rear corners of your vehicle. To adjust the left side mirror, rest your head against the closed window and set the mirror to barely show the edge of your vehicle. To set the right mirror, lean to the right so your head is directly below the rearview mirror or above the center console. Adjust this mirror the same way so you can barely see the edge of the right side of your vehicle. One advantage of this mirror positioning is that it will enable you to look directly into what would otherwise be your largest blind spot, generally areas off the rear corners of your vehicle that can hide an entire car. Another advantage is that it minimizes the amount of time that other vehicles disappear from your sight. Vehicles that are no longer visible in your rearview mirror will become visible in your side view mirrors much sooner than your side vision allows. For example, as this car approaches from behind, you see it in your rearview mirror. As it moves out of the rearview mirror, you see the car move into your side view mirror. As the vehicle continues past, you pick it up in your side vision. You'll now have almost seamless visual contact with the vehicles around you, which reduces your risk of a collision. Still, even if a lane looks all clear in your side mirror, it's still best to look over your shoulder before changing lanes. That's the only way to be absolutely sure the space you want to move into is open. Also, positioning your mirrors this way can help reduce the glare of headlights from vehicles behind you. This can be especially helpful for preserving your night vision. Just a few more checks and you'll be ready to go. Lock the doors to keep strangers out and help keep yourself in if there's a collision. And finally, this is the single most important thing that you can do to save life and limb, to say nothing of that nice face: wear your safety belt. Basically, safety belts reduce the chance that your body will come in contact with hard surfaces in the vehicle. That is the real risk in a collision. You see, there are actually 3 collisions when a crash occurs. First, the vehicle hits an object. Second, the occupant hits the interior parts of the vehicle, such as the steering wheel or dashboard. Third, the occupant's internal organs slam up against their skeletal structure. It is during this last collision that most injuries occur. Safety belts are designed to prevent ejection and slow the rate at which you move forward in a collision. This, in turn, reduces the chance that your body will come in contact with hard surfaces in the vehicle. Even collisions at low speeds can cause a real shock to the body. Let's take a look at a school demonstration that shows what's actually involved in a crash at just 5 miles per hour.
The seatbelt convincer buckled the students in a seat and then let them truly feel the impact that even a minor accident carries. The message hit home, not just intellectually, but also physically.
When you told them 5 miles an hour is what they just experienced, they were shocked because they realized it was quite a jolt.
The crash simulator I think that's been my favorite part all day, because like when I went to go put on the seatbelt, I do put it behind my head sometimes and I put it underneath my arm, and you're not supposed to do that, and now I can tell why.
Take that experience and apply it to a car going 10, 20, 50, 70 miles an hour, and you can only imagine. So that's a very impactful station.
As you can see, even traveling at just 5 miles per hour can result in quite a jolt if a collision occurs. But some drivers still don't wear their safety belts. Most of these drivers have misconceptions about what will happen to them if they use their safety belt.
I don't like to wear a seatbelt because if I crash in the water, I'll be trapped.
Although this is a common perception, research shows that most people get stuck in burning or submerged cars because they're unconscious or were killed instantly in the crash.
If you wear a seatbelt as a passenger, it looks like you don't trust the driver.
You can always explain that it's just a habit that you picked up, or that it's the other drivers on the road that you don't trust.
If I'm in a collision, I think I'd rather be thrown clear of it than stay in the vehicle.
Although seatbelts can bruise the chest or hip bone in a collision, those injuries are minor compared with the injuries caused by flying through a windshield.
Because I'm busy and putting on a safety belt just takes too much time.
Let's take a look at that. That only takes about 4 seconds. Your life is worth way more than that. Buckling up doesn't take as long as you might think. So just how effective are safety belts? In a typical year, car crashes kill over 30,000 people. Analysis of crashes shows that the chances of survival are increased by about 25% with safety belts. That may not seem like much, unless you're one of the 25%. In terms of injuries, safety belts can help reduce this risk by 50%. Let's take a quick look at how safety belts really work in a crash, in this case, a rollover collision. In this simulation of a rollover, you can see the potential damage to the occupants who are not wearing belts. Now that they're buckled in, their risk of severe injury is substantially reduced. What it comes down to is developing a habit. Every time you get into a car, the first thing you do is fasten the safety belt. Eventually, you'll feel uncomfortable without it. You'll also feel uncomfortable when passengers in your car aren't wearing them. As the driver, you must make sure that all passengers have their safety belts on before your car starts moving. They also need to be properly adjusted. How do you do that? The lap belt should be snug across your hips. The shoulder belt should be snug across your chest, although you can still lean forward whenever you need to. Many vehicles have shoulder height adjustments that improve your comfort and also ensure proper fit. The next occupant protection system is the head restraint. It's not for comfort, but to keep your head from snapping back in a rear-end collision and causing whiplash, one of the most painful and long-lasting injuries. Even drivers who know what it's for often don't know how to use it properly. Most of the time, it's not properly positioned in that it is too low. To correctly position the head restraint, move it so the top is even with the top of your head. Airbags are another valuable occupant protection system. They're usually located in the steering wheel and the passenger side dashboard, but they can also be mounted to the sides. Also called supplemental restraint systems, airbags are designed to inflate upon impact, helping to reduce the crash forces on your body. Of course, with airbags in place, you don't need to wear your safety belts, right? Wrong. Airbags are designed to work with safety belts, so you still need to wear them. People aren't the only objects that need to be restrained in a collision. This is a guided missile waiting to be launched. In a head-on collision, articles on the rear window shelf will fly forward until they hit something. The same is true for items on the back seat. If it has to stay in the car, put it on the floor behind the front seat. All large items belong in the trunk. Adjusting the seat, the mirrors, head restraint, and safety belts usually takes less than a minute. Plus, wearing your safety belt is generally required by law. Now that you're properly adjusted and buckled in, you need to become familiar with the main speed and directional controls. These are the gear lever, the accelerator pedal, and the brake pedal. The gear lever allows you to select which gear you want to drive in. The foot pedal on the right is the accelerator pedal, which controls how fast the vehicle moves, either forward or backward. The foot pedal to the left of the accelerator is the brake pedal. This controls how quickly the vehicle slows down. Another important feature is the parking brake, which is designed to hold a parked vehicle in its place. The parking brake is usually located in one of two places. Hand-operated parking brakes are located on the center console and are operated with the right hand. You pull up to set the brake and release the lever to disengage the brake. A foot-operated parking brake is a pedal located above the floor to the far left of the brake pedal. You press down to set the brake and then release the brake by either pressing again or by pulling a release knob by hand. But wait, there's more. In addition to these primary controls, you have a full set of secondary controls to help you communicate with and stay visible to other people on the road. Although rarely used, the horn is used to communicate your presence to other drivers. It's usually activated by pressing on the middle of the steering wheel. The turn signal lever lets us signal other cars before we turn or change lanes. Pushing it up turns on the right turn signal, and pushing it down turns on the left turn signal. Hazard flashers make lights at the front and the rear of the car blink simultaneously. They attract attention when necessary, such as when a car is pulled to the side of the road because of a mechanical problem. Windshield wipers help drivers keep a clear view of the road and traffic in wet conditions. There's a control to turn them on, and a speed control that lets you adjust the speed of the wipers according to the amount of rain or snow. The windshield washers help you clear the windshield of dirt, particularly the spray that's thrown on the windshield by trucks and other vehicles ahead. There's a control to turn the headlights on, which we should do every time we drive. This will help reduce risk by increasing your visibility to other drivers. There's also a high and low beam control. There's a control to turn on the heat when it's cold, or to get cold air when it's hot. Most vehicles also have levers or buttons to activate releases, such as to open the hood, the trunk, and even the fuel door. In addition to these vehicle controls, there are some gauges that you need to know about. The speedometer shows how fast you're going. The odometer shows the total distance traveled by the vehicle. The fuel gauge shows how much fuel you have. You may have a little fuel left when it reads empty, but don't count on it. Additionally, there may be a symbol telling you what side of the car the fuel door is on. This indicator shows the temperature of the water in the cooling system. The oil gauge shows the engine oil pressure. A light will signal when the pressure has dropped to a dangerous level. The alternator indicator registers the output of the system that keeps the battery charged. Generally, a warning light or gauge will alert the driver when the battery power is low. It's very important to learn the location and operation of all controls and indicators before you drive a particular vehicle. And anytime you drive someone else's car or rent one, you need to take a few moments to make sure you know where everything is. Before you hit the road, you need to make a few checks to ensure your vehicle is ready to drive. After you make sure that the nearby environment is clear, you need to adjust the vehicle to your body and your preferences. You also need to buckle up. That's the most effective thing you can do to prevent injury. Everyone in the vehicle must be properly secured. You also need to familiarize yourself with each vehicle you drive before you drive. It only takes a minute to learn where the controls are, and that knowledge can really pay off in an emergency.